Hello. It's been a while since I've filmed a regular old vlog, so I'm excited for this one because it's not just going to be on a whim. I have an idea. I find that after enough time... Oh, bless you. It's on my hand. I find that after a certain period of time passes, I always have to get out of my home base. I feel like all I see are couples. And more specifically, married couples. I don't know if this is just me or social media is having like a married couple renaissance right now, but everyone's getting married. Not sure why. And another thing, this homemaking aesthetic is really popular in addition to the marriages. Like a lot of influential women, beautiful, smart, talented women, are advertising their homemaking skills in order to build a social media audience. But I feel like there's this inescapable stereotype that women belong at home. And although societally I think we've changed a lot, there are still flavors of that in the way that we're influenced online, especially the trad wife aesthetic. If you don't know what a trad wife is, it's a traditional wife. It's a woman in a marriage arrangement who typically is at home taking care of maybe some children, maybe she's cooking things in the kitchen or taking care of the laundry, and typically the husband is the breadwinner. Now I feel like the trad wife is morphing. I think that was a 1950s, 1960s perspective, and I think what makes it really eye-catching and interesting to watch on social media is that it feels very approachable and doable, and there are good things that come out of this trad wife aesthetic, like traditional dating values. I think my generation in particular has felt like dating has sucked for a really long time because a lot of it has shifted to social media. I also think the possibility that some viewers are being inspired to make things themselves, like homemade bread, is awesome. I think that's never a bad thing. Downsides could be there's also a tinge of sexism within the history of traditional wives. I also think it's usually easier for people of a certain societal class to be able to happily make this lifestyle work and look really beautiful and nice. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into the nitty-gritty. The main goal of this was to say that I find it very fascinating and I want to know what it feels like to be a trad wife. So I'm gonna do it. On Friday, I'm going to rent a car and drive to upstate New York to stay on a farm. I'm not gonna let anything feed me but my two hands. Plus, it's already almost dinner time here. I'm pretty hungry, and I don't think there's anybody else on the farm besides me and Diane. I do have 35 neighbors though, and they're all pigs.
You want some? Hi, pig. You kind of have to drink it. Oh, you're really cute. Here, have more. Okay, okay, chill out. It's just Wegmans almond milk.
I think I would think of more traditional gendered roles in the home, especially when it comes to homekeeping, child rearing. I think a little bit more conservative values, definitely something with more religious influence. I think it's the presentation of femininity, the presentation of like it's this quiet, kind of demure.
Very good.
I know. Quiet. It's subservient to a degree, and that's where you get your gender roles. That's where you get some like kind of religious nudgings and conservative ideological ideas come in. But I think part of that is because I actually work in the industry, and also being a queer person, I think I'm just maybe a little bit more readily able to like pinpoint when I see like differences like that. I don't know. I used to be very feminine, very straight, and it's different. It's a different perspective, and I think I see it a lot, or I'm more willing to like see it or call it out. I think I definitely had family that were more traditional. I know on my mother's side, my aunt was definitely very religious, traditional family, large family. Also farming as a career choice, the margins are incredibly thin. You're not gonna get rich quick. Most farmers are in a lot of debt. It's a really hard life to live full time, and where you see it marketed online, these people already have a lot of money and their farm is a hobby farm, and there's nothing wrong with that, having like a hobby farm or a homestead. But when farming is your sole source of income, it's just incredibly different.
Okay, Mom. How are you?
Fine. Well, I would say maybe she wasn't so much at home because because I was the youngest, by the time I came along, she was probably ready to not be a mom anymore. She golfed a lot. So it was more the caretaker that took care of me. When Cheryl was born, she was being the model parent. You can see it in the pictures. I mean, it looks like the old, let's see, what age would that have been? 50s and 60s. I mean, I think I was just skinny and awkward and sarcastic. I was probably uncomfortable, and I used humor as a deflection, maybe.
Did you ever think about being like a stay-at-home mom?
No.
Because you liked your career?
Because I already had one at that point.
So there was no choice?
Again, I feel like I was on a really fast train. my memory, it was like, maybe like you know where how you probably used to feel. I don't know if you feel the same way now, but it was almost like your mind was racing all the time, and you were like had to be doing something all the time, and if something wasn't going on, you think you're behind, and you think you're slowing down. You know what I mean? I think I was hyper driven like that, and so assumed I could do it all, and probably Cheryl, she did. Because that's when females were getting the right to work, the right to vote. Oh, I think she felt that it was a significant job to run the house and meals and the upbringing and the finances she was like the business manager of the house while Dad worked all the time. She did everything else. He worked and played. She did everything else. I think that's what I always thought I was never going to do. If I did both, I was never going to do both, and either of them very well.
Are you happy that you tried?
No. I would have done it differently if I had it to over again.
Like what?
Less work, more family.
But then when you don't have your kids, don't you want your own life?
Yeah, but you can do that after. I think that's where, if you're married, that's a little easier. I think it's hard if you're someone who's a single mom because you don't have an option unless you have family, that the kids can be with.
Their accomplishments. Like a lot of people will judge the women in this community, and often when I try to articulate the richness of their lives, I express it through this of a costume to dress up as a mommy, which means a mom. So little kids will have a play set to dress up as a mommy with a scarf, which is what you wear after marriage, and an apron, which is what you wear when you light candles.
I'll get divorced.
You can get divorced, but
Is that bad?
it's definitely something that people work very hard to avoid.
Oh, it's so shiny.
It looks like your Alexa's train set up there.
Oh, so but they're happy while they're doing it.
Yeah, that make us feel nurturing. Was not women set, it was mommy set.
Why not any women in kosher media?
Women are not allowed to be watched performing by men. So this, for instance, is Leah Forrester. She performs, but for women only. And you will see it says for women only.
You hear things about people who are different and you think, oh, isn't that awful? But then when you get in with these people and you get to know them, they're just like anybody else. Everybody has the good and the bad. Oh, yeah, we were out there. We had to live at his hotel for 2.5 weeks. And see, we had no electricity and we had no water. Everything is all torn up. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't recognize Asheville. It'll be months before it's back to normal again. Maybe by the time you get home at Christmas. Don't settle for something you don't like. Jobs are something like boyfriends. Don't settle for anything. Just wait till you get the best.
I feel like the main thing that I realize after I notice myself being influenced by something or I just see something trendy is that there can be a lot of pressure to conform, and there can be a lot of guilt when you don't, in a way, or like a constant feeling of FOMO if you see trendy things but they're not necessarily your style. I don't know. I feel like being in the cooking space, I kind of subtly fall into the trad wife sphere. But I also hope to not stay here. I want to not feel trad wifey because I think, like any trend, it might have a quick cycle. I think the idea of homemaking is really beautiful, but I'd like that to be a small element of the rest of my life. At least for right now.